Welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game by criticizing current players. Today, we are looking at Survivor 45, Episode 9, How Am I the Mobster? I'm one of your co-hosts, Josh Wessler, joined today by Derek Kubicek and Ryan Stacy.
I'm back.
And feeling better.
I'm feeling mostly better. You guys did a good job without me, though. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
You feel better. The podcast got worse. That's okay.
But no, it's good to be back. Sorry to miss last week, but yeah, I was dying.
You get this one, and only this one.
Okay, Josh.
But yes, we're all...
didn't you go to a concert instead of being on the podcast one time?
Well, I don't know. It's possible, but probably not.
Yeah, Kenneth something or other.
Who knows? But yeah, we're all back here in person this time. But before we get into the episode, it's time. It's that season. It's holiday season. And here on the Castaway Consultants Podcast, we do have a favorite holiday. And that is Spotify Wrapped.
It's by far the superior December holiday.
You know, we know a lot of you listen to us on Spotify. And if you do, obviously, you're aware of what Spotify Wrapped is. And we've actually already gotten a couple of people sending us messages showing that we're one of their top podcasts. So if that is you, thank you so much. We had a few people reach out on Instagram and other places. And if we are in your Spotify Wrapped, feel free to shout us out. You know our socials. We usually do it at the end of the episode. But, Castaway Pod for a lot of stuff. YouTube, Facebook, Castaway Consultants. Let us know. Personally, I love seeing all that stuff. And some people who messaged us today really kind of like went into how they came across our account or what they use us for. We had someone in Canada even who helps learn English by listening to us. I'm sorry, first of all.
Yeah, that's a mistake. The three of us can barely speak English.
We can barely do anything right.
It's always cool. We had, same thing as last year. And it's always really cool to see, and we really appreciate it.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much.
And because we want this to be evergreen, anytime a Spotify Wrapped comes across and we're on it, and you want to send us a screenshot, we will shout it out. You can do this in the middle of June, even if you're way late to the party. Or as Jake would say, the potty. I'm super excited about this time of year.
Oh, Christmas in July, Spotify Wrapped in July?
Exactly. It always makes us feel good because we don't have a big audience, but we have the best audience.
Yes, we do. Very true. Well, there's a Survivor episode to talk about.
There is.
How Am I the Mobster, the 10th episode of Survivor 45. What did you guys think of the episode?
Maybe one editing criticism, but absolutely made up for by the Top Gun montage.
Yes.
That was the highlight of the episode. We had a little bit of bickering. That was fun. Not good gameplay, but fun.
A lot of questionable gameplay tonight.
Lots of questionable gameplay, not the least of which was the small spat on the beach. All of this will be easier once we get into spoilers, but yeah, Josh, what did you think?
Yeah, overall I liked it. Trying to describe this without having any spoilers is a little bit tough, but it wasn't. I think the highlight definitely was the amazing montage that we got, and then it was a little bit of just misdirection, I think, by the editors.
I don't know if I feel like it was a misdirect. I will just say, fun episode, questionable gameplay.
Questionable gameplay. I just felt kind of confused. I felt like I was being fed a lot of things that maybe didn't really matter a whole lot. It was just hard for me to digest everything that was going on. So, okay. But that might have just been me.
Hey, some of the most fun episodes involve questionable gameplay.
Well, we're gonna be your Tums tonight, Josh. I'll be with that digestion.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Should we jump into the episode?
We should.
All right. Spoiler alert. 3, 2,
leave.
1. Good night, sweet prince. Papa Bruce is done.
Sad day.
And I'm like, but why?
But why?
Terrible move to take out Bruce tonight. I'm kind of shocked that it happened. I wasn't expecting it to go down the way it went down. But yeah, I think it was a bad move.
When the episode ended, I posed a question off recording to the group. Bruce going home helps who exactly? And the answer, truthfully, is all the people at the top.
Yep. Reba, pretty much.
Reba.
And I won't even say all of Reba.
It's not all of Reba, but
75% of Reba.
Yeah, I'm gonna bury that lead.
Yep.
Bury it deep, and you can wait till the end of the podcast. But
because Bruce is out.
There's
somebody else who can't win the game anymore.
We have to switch up our who can't wins. So
it'll be fun.
So I'm ready to get there. I'm ready just to jump into the episode.
All right. So,
Sorry.
Yeah, before you get in, we got a question on Twitter from Blake asking, why do players continue to vote out people that have no chance winning? Do we want to talk about that now or wait until the end for that?
that is a great question. Who said that?
Blake on
Blake.
Twitter.
All right, Blake, we were going to come back to you. That is a great question. We're going to shout him out twice because it's such a great question. We're going to keep this in, and we're going to bring it up at the end and talk about this because it is the question of the hour. So thank you, Blake, for reaching out to us. We will come back to this question at the end when we get to the vote itself.
Perfect.
That's almost the whole point of this particular episode because that's the punchline.
Yep.
And there's a second part to his question. I'll leave that
Ooh.
for later.
Oh, now we're getting dangled.
Josh just deep teased us. I like it. All right, so the episode begins. Everyone gets back to camp. Julie kind of talks about how she's having a hard time betraying people. She's taken on the mom role. She is Mama J. And we've talked about this a lot, especially in our Rewind series, about the mom on Survivor. And, you know, there's two aspects to the mom role. There's, like, the mom who nags and tells you what to do. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is, like, the support. The person who's there for you, who kind of films, like, the comfort role on the tribe. And that can be such a dangerous game to play. Because if you do get to the end as the mom, people are usually mad at you because you betrayed them. Dawn, Lisa. People like Dawn, people like Lisa, people are mad at the end because they were betrayed by them. Even though they kind of took on that nurturing role. It's like, I got betrayed by my own mother kind of thing. People are mad at you, and it's hard for that person to win. You can be a mom, like literally, Denise Stapley is a great example, but she didn't play the mother role. Did
Tina really lean into that at all?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Janet is another one. She didn't make it to the end, but she made it far, playing kind of that mom role, but without being the mom. That's why this is a balance beam that needs to be balanced, especially if you're an older woman out there. You're going to get shoehorned into it, or there's a good chance you will. And by the way, to go back to your point, Ryan, when we first started this and I was just a little Survivor neophyte who'd watched a lot and maybe didn't understand a ton, you always said, it hurts worse when your mom betrays you. Mm-hmm. And if someone's playing the mom role and they betray you, it's gonna hurt worse. Mm-hmm. There's a lesson to be learned here, by the way, because there's two sides of this. One, if Julie is going to let people anoint her Mama J, she needs to immediately know the balance beam she's walking. Mm-hmm. You can weaponize this. If you're ever on Survivor and you're not that person, you can anoint somebody Mama J, Mama C, Mama whatever. It doesn't matter. And then they might be forced to play that game by proxy. So I just wanted to point out the two sides to that coin.
Yeah, definitely if you can label somebody the mom of the tribe, do it. That should help. It'll hurt them. If you are in that role, well, first of all, don't be in that role. Don't be the mom. But yeah, it is a delicate type role to watch.
Nobody wants a dad on Survivor. Nobody wants to be the mom on Survivor. Nobody should want to be the mom on Survivor.
Hey, sometimes all you have to do is just vote out your mom.
Mm-hmm. That's sometimes what you got to do. But yeah, that's a big point of the episode is being the mom makes her a threat. People see her as apparently a huge threat to win. Which, that's brand new
information.
Breaking news, Julie's a huge threat to win.
Yeah, it makes me feel better about my initial merge time dank down. If you go back and listen to that, I had Julie at number 2. But then based on the first 2 episodes of the merge, I had to drop her down below Austin and Drew minimum. But apparently everybody loves her.
I think it's just all Reba. I think that's why. They just see everyone on Reba as a threat to win the game.
The shifting target.
And which means if you're anyone on Bello...
Oops.
Good luck.
Maybe you guys should all work together.
Maybe don't vote out Bruce.
Because they're going to talk about how strong Reba 4 are. They don't know who the leader is. Even Emily's not 100% sure where she stands. But on the flip side, she doesn't think Katura, Bruce, and Jake can work together. And it turns out she's right, though they should. You know, it's like you have these people on the bottom that could rise up, but it's just the worst group of people to be on the bottom with. So Bruce has an interesting plan, which I like in theory. It's the execution. He tells Katura that because he was afraid of the knowledge is power, he gave his idol to Kelly. And Kelly got voted out with it in her pocket. I'm like, oh my god, Bruce doesn't have his idol. And
I bought it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's huge. And then Bruce reveals, no, I'm just kidding. But it was believable though, wasn't it? And Katura's super mad at him for doing that. And she's like, I don't get it. Bruce is dumb.
And she says in confessional, I didn't believe him for a second, which is a lie.
Yeah, it's a lie.
She absolutely believed him.
But Bruce, he's got this plan to tell Jake that, hey, my idol went home with Kelly. Jake will leak the information to Reba because that's what Jake does. And then they will vote for him. He can play his idol. Boom. This is a great plan. Unfortunately, you already blew it because you told Katurah the truth.
Right, yeah, this is the Tyrion Lannister trick where you tell 3 people 3 different stories, and whichever one gets out, you know they're the traitor, except he's like planning for it to be Jake. But yeah, you told Katurah, he was so proud of himself that he came up with an idea that he ruined it.
Yep.
Like, you can't tell people that, like, that's the most important part.
Well, and like, fast forward into the episode a little bit, he's right. Jake leaks the information.
Mm-hmm.
What Bruce doesn't know is that basically anyone that he tells this to is going to leak the information. It's not going to be just Jake.
Especially Katurah.
Yeah, especially.
Her whole personality is hating Bruce.
Yep.
And he should know this.
What is she going to do next week?
Yeah, I think she's going to have a crisis of identity.
Yep.
She's just going to be walking around ghost-faced like, I've accomplished all that I set out to do since day one.
Maybe she'll finally realize where her position in the game is.
And maybe this is the start of her winner's edit. Bruce, she slayed her foe, she rises to win. Or she'll find a new person to hate. Maybe she'll just start hating Jake or something like that.
Who was anointed Dragon Slayer on, was it Tokenshiens or was was he the Dragon Slayer? Because JT was the dragon?
No, Brendan was the dragon.
Brendan was the dragon, so Coach is the Dragon Slayer. Maybe Katurah can be the Shark Slayer because Bruce.
Oh, Jesus.
That is such a stretch.
But also you have the Dakawaka tribe, so it fits. She's the Shark Slayer.
It fits. I get what you're saying, Derek, but hey, this is a reach.
That's everything that we do on this podcast.
Reward challenge. Emily is going to win a reward, which is very
her.
exciting. Unfortunately, she didn't listen to the podcast. Don't win individual rewards because Jeff was a little like, he's like, here's what you're going to get at the sanctuary where good things happen. And then there's like an awkward pause as though there was something else that's going to be there. Yeah, there's going to be something else there and it's going to be the letters from home or something like that. You don't want to win that reward.
And we kind of backtrack this a little bit here in the new era just because of how little supplies, I guess, and like food they get during these seasons here. So, like, I'm not going to say all reward challenges you shouldn't win.
All individual reward challenges you probably shouldn't win.
Probably. Because I know we talked about this specifically, I think, last season, and I think we all decided, like, you're all pretty deprived. Maybe it's okay to, win one here and there.
Sure. And you're probably safe from here on out. But the loved ones stuff is always emotional. It can definitely blow up in your face. Most famously with Brenda and Cara Moen. This absolutely could have blown up in Emily's face. It doesn't, but she gets to pick 3 people to go on reward with her, and she picks the girls, Julie, Katurah, and Dee. Questionable, I think.
Why do I feel like we settled on this? If you're on the bottom and you know it, go ahead and win reward.
Yeah, like Jake or Bruce could win.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter because it doesn't hurt your position, but Emily might be the worst person to win any kind of individual reward and be forced to pick people because she finds herself as the lone Lulu member. Who is she in Reba? Is she not? I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you. I think this is questionable. She turns it into a ladies' night, which gives us like one of the greatest montages in Survivor history. So I'm glad she did it. But I think it would have probably been better to pick 3 Reba and maybe be done with it.
I think it'll be okay because on paper, Katurah is in the alliance. You keep her comfortable. Julie and Dee are in the alliance. And if Emily's closest allies are Austin and Drew, she can maybe go back and be like, I just wanted to keep them feeling secure. I'm with you guys. So, maybe it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't bring all of Reba.
No, you can't.
So I think taking a little bit from each side, and Ryan, like you said, Katurah is a great person to bring, even if she's not expecting it, just because she's the one person that shouldn't really belong there. Like, what are you doing voting with Reba? Okay, like, sure, yeah, come with. We'll solidify that. So that was a good choice.
You know what? I've changed my mind. I think Emily read this perfectly because there's no way that Jake and Bruce were going to get together with Drew and Austin. Yeah. And given that she is closest with Drew and Austin, Ryan, I'm never taking you on reward on Survivor. So I'm going to walk it back. Emily, perfect pick.
Yeah, I'm going to walk it back too. I think this is the right choices. Just, I don't win these. They're too risky.
Yeah, don't make the choice, but if you have to make the choice, you made the right one.
Yeah, and I don't think it hurts her game at all.
No.
At the sanctuary where good things happen, Katurah's going to tell the girls, Bruce is going to come to you guys and lie about his idol going out of the game. That's a lie. Like, cool, we can split between Bruce and Jake. Awesome.
Thanks for all the information, Katurah. This is definitely going to help your game.
Katurah just out here acting as an agent of chaos. She can't win the game.
Chaos Katura.
She can't do anything. She can cause all the chaos she wants. She can kick up all the sand. It doesn't matter. Katura cannot win this game. But it's frustrating. I guess if I have someone who can't win, I'd rather have them out there making the show entertaining. So, good for her.
At least she's not just doing nothing.
Yeah, at least she's not doing, because we've had, like, Ghost Town's a great example.
Laurel.
We had, like, Laurel, we had Angela, we had Sebastian, all people on the bottom who weren't doing anything. I'd much rather people on the bottom who can't win doing things to, like, blow up other people's
Messing
spots.
up other people's plans.
Even if it's terrible gameplay, I'd much rather have that. Like, Katura's hilarious on the season. She's a very bad player, which is fun. I'm totally fine with that.
Well, can I make a really stupid analogy? Because Survivor's all about it. If anyone out there has ever played Fortnite, I'm imagining a bunch of master builders creating this tower, and then just some noob down there at the bottom with the pickaxe just knocking down the towers, hoping that everybody comes falling.
Would that happen?
Well, it happens sometimes, absolutely.
No, if you take out the very bottom of the tower in Fortnite, will it fall?
Yeah, in like the original versions, I haven't played it in a long time,
Yeah.
so it probably doesn't anymore. But
My age starts with a 3 now. It's a great analogy if you've played the game.
yeah.
So the girls, they're on their girls' night. The guys are having a guys' night back at the beach. And this is going to go down in history because we're going to have a montage sequence with Top Gun's playing with the boys.
Yeah, like Kenny Loggins playing with my friends, playing with the boys.
Playing with the boys.
And we get farting and chopping and fishing and
posing
swimming and flexing.
Burping.
All we're missing is a volleyball.
Yeah, it's not nearly homoerotic enough, but this is hilarious. I can't believe we got a Top Gun montage.
Yeah, they all had their shirts off.
And
we're almost there.
And you know what? If Paramount owns the rights, they need to dip into this well. They need to go into their well way more often, because this was choice of all the questionable edits in the season this year. This is not one of them.
This is incredible.
This is incredible.
Iconic.
Next season they need to figure out how to get Danger Zone in there.
Yeah.
I'll say it. This episode is better than the movie Top Gun.
Ooh.
Now, better than Maverick? No.
No.
Better than the original Top Gun? Absolutely. Maybe hot take. That movie's bad.
No, it's not bad. It's not better than Maverick, though.
It's overrated.
It's bad. It's a bad movie.
I will agree that it is overrated.
But Bruce, he wants to take out D. And Jake's like, that will never happen. Bye, I'm separating myself from you. And so he immediately rats out Bruce to Drew. He's like, hey, Bruce's idol's gone. He gave it to Kelly. It's out of the game. And all the other boys are like very excited. Like, oh, we can just take out Bruce. Bruce, your plan is working almost perfectly.
If only you wouldn't have told Katura the truth.
Emily gets back to camp immediately. It's like, no, Bruce is lying now. Like, oh, okay, well, we'll just split between Bruce and Jake then. Great. Perfect.
You know what would be a great soundbite for right here? You sly dog, you caught me monologuing. Like, Bruce was monologuing to Katura, and it gets him in trouble here.
Emily's going to tell Jake that he's, like, the backup. That's the new plan, because she wants his jury vote. So Jake, he's, like, pissed off, so he wants to turn things on Drew, because he told Drew this information, and Drew's going to take him out anyway. Nobody's into that. He's pitching it to Julie, pitches it to Emily. No one's into it. So Drew finds out about this, and he confronts Jake. And we get a spat between the two of them. They're both kind of mad at each other. It's not good. This is bad.
This is bad gameplay, but boy, oh howdy, is it fun.
Yeah. The two of them getting kind of a petty fight, a little bit of name calling. Let it go. This is not good.
You know what this is? This is two guys in their early to mid 20s who are playing a game for $1 million that really like each other and don't know how to fight. What do you mean I'm a mobster? You heard me. No, you. No, you.
No, you.
Well, I'm telling Mom. Well, no, you're not.
Tell Mama J.
No one likes a tattletale.
I already told Mama J. Not good for either of them. Bad.
Yeah, Drew. So I know we applauded you for playing a very like open and honest game when it came to Mystery Adventure Island and everything that you earned there. But you are so open, and this is the second time that you've maybe said something that you shouldn't. You can internalize this, or better yet, talk about Jake behind his back. Like, hey, can you believe he's trying to target me? Let's just keep him as the backup. We don't have to switch the target. Yeah. I'm secure here. I trust you guys, but hello, this is funny.
And Drew, you got no right to be mad. You are targeting Jake.
I was going to say, Jake is mostly in the right.
Jake
here.
is mostly in the right. It's like, what do you want him to do?
You don't need to take the
fight
action.
is still bad.
I want to step in on Drew's behalf. I don't think that's true. I think that of the people left, other than Bruce, Drew is the one targeting Jake the least.
But he's still targeting
He's just like, I'm on the ride. Like, why isn't Jake mad at Emily for not wanting to work with him more?
because she came and talked to him.
Drew was also talking to him.
But wasn't honest. Emily was honest.
Yeah,
in this moment.
Because he's like,
Drew wasn't.
Who's targeting me? Everyone. There you go.
So maybe Drew could have said something like that, but also he's in Bello and you want to make sure like you're not caught fraternizing with the enemy.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, and like on that point, Emily kind of has to be a little careful what she's doing here
Yeah,
because
totally.
she's playing the whole jury management card, and she does it with both Bruce and Jake this episode. And that can be a really slippery slope.
I will just sum it up for myself though and say like, Drew, you don't need to go and confront Jake, because we do think that Drew was the person doing the confronting.
I think so. Jake would have no reason to.
Right. So Drew, don't go and confront Jake about this. That does no good for you.
Yep, it's bad. Immunity challenge. Austin is going to outlast Bruce and win this challenge. Interestingly, Katura has a panic attack about falling into the water because they're holding on to like a rack and they slip off and fall into the water. But it's not like Katura doesn't know how to swim. Maybe she learned to swim recently, but it is just kind of odd that she had a panic attack about falling into the water.
Yeah, the way that she worded it makes me think that she learned how to swim before coming on this season, like recently, just because she's like, no, I prepared for this. So maybe it was a fear in the past, and she overcame that before coming on to Survivor, but then just being there in the moments like, holy crap, the ocean is right here when I fall in. You know, there's nothing there to catch me. You know, it can be random how these types of things happen.
I mean, you can prepare all you want, but once you're out there, malnourished, brain fog, can't trust anybody, and now you're sitting there over something that you're genuinely scared of, I get it.
I guess. I mean, I cannot relate at all. I mean, I can relate to having like a panic attack, but like the water was so calm and crystal cool. I wanted to dive in, and I'm just like, I don't know. I just like, I'm not criticizing her by any means. I was just like, I cannot relate or comprehend this at all.
I want to talk about something that I realized about myself while I was watching it. I was actually a little bit angry that they cast somebody scared of the water. Like, I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it. I'm saying this is something that I recognized in myself. I had to identify it and say, like, Derek, why do you hate that they're casting someone afraid of the water on Survivor? I don't really have an answer yet. I know it's not the right feeling to have, but those were the feelings I had in the moment.
That's reality TV producing 101. Make people face their fears. That's what The Amazing Race does all the time.
But also, I like watching people play Survivor and not be scared of the water. I don't know. It's something I'm still working through in my head.
Part of the game.
Put yourself in the shoes of a reality TV producer. This is gold.
Man, I'm really scared of eating specific things. Hey, food challenge.
But the other thing with that, like,
I'm scared of leaves.
For every good moment that you get where Katura is scared of the water and it's really compelling television, you get a Hannah quitting because she didn't stop smoking. It's walking on a razor thin edge trying to get it right, and maybe it's just compounded with those two engineered quits this season where I'm like, man, what's going on? But I don't want to hold this against Katura. I'm holding it against myself. I need to develop.
So back on the beach, Austin's like, Bruce, play your idol. The plan's split between you and Jake. Play your idol.
Which is interesting because we always say, don't do this. We literally just said this season. Maybe that's why Bruce didn't play his idol.
Yeah, that could be why, along with everything else that's going to happen. But I don't think there's a negative for Austin to do this. Either Bruce plays his idol or he doesn't. It's a win-win. So I think there's no harm in telling Bruce this time.
I'll say, yeah, at best, Bruce goes home with the idol in his pocket. At worst, but still good, he plays his idol, and maybe you actually got a little trust like there because you told Bruce to do it.
Since Austin won immunity, he can say what he wants. Yeah. Everyone else on Reba, though, should still be wary of the fact that there are 3 Bellos and an Emily around. An Emily who, by the way, in case anyone has forgotten, was a little overly strategic in the early portions of this game. So Austin can do what he wants. Everyone else should be wary of, I don't know, Mama J's name getting thrown out there.
Which is what Katura's going to do. She thinks taking out Jake is a waste of time, and maybe the backup should be Julie instead. They talk about it, and they go to Bruce and Jake with a plan to take out Julie. This doesn't actually turn out to be a real plan. Emily reveals to us, like, the real plan is, no, Bruce is going home, but maybe taking out Julie is the backup instead. if he does plays Idol, that might be better than taking out Jake. But that's not what's going to happen. It's just something that is told to us. But the point is, Emily talks to Bruce about this, kind of lies to him and plays along like, yeah, let's take out Julie on the revote, just in the hope that Bruce might not play his Idol. He might get comfortable because Emily is kind of soothing him. Goes home with the Idol in his pocket. That is her main goal. That's what's going to happen. I mean, we're not quite there yet, but it works.
Yeah, and it's like they're close here, especially like someone like Katura. She tosses out as an idea that it, maybe let's go for Julie and whatnot, but instead of it being almost like a distraction of like, oh, if that way if they split the votes, we can end up having the majority on Julie. They should all just come together and just do this. You're on the bottom. All of them are on the bottom. Just work together.
Yep. I agree.
I don't care what Emily says. Just do it. Use the Idol as the power move. And yeah, Bruce can maybe take credit for that. But you all need to survive together at this point to have any shot at winning.
If they split the vote between Bruce and Jake or Bruce and Julie, doesn't matter. But the four on the bottom, the three on the bottom, and then Emily with question mark Emily, where Emily's at, could come together and take out Julie, apparently, who's a huge threat, or D, who we have been told is also a huge threat. Why not?
There's no good answer to that question
that we know of.
There's nothing that we've been told, but
all I can think is that Drew and Austin have like repeatedly made Emily feel comfortable, and we're just not being shown that.
Has to.
And I think also reading into Emily's brain, Emily must feel like she can beat them,
which I think she can.
I don't know that she can, and that's why I'm having a hard time with reading Emily's game. She can definitely still win, but I don't know that she would have a good argument against an Austin or a Drew or a D or a Julie. If she goes with one of them, I think it's tough sledding.
Well, I think this will help. I think she can use this like, hey, I convinced Bruce not to play his Idol.
Yeah, she can say that.
It's a feather in her cap right there. She survived Lulu. She would have been out first. I think Emily can win this game. In fact, I have her as number one on my pecking order right now.
Ooh.
I think Emily beats everybody.
That's actually no shocker. You've had her as number one for a few weeks now.
I think Emily beats everybody in the end.
Derek, did you put together your dank downs?
I did.
Okay, so now I can't sway your opinion at all, but I am also jumping Emily up to number one.
Wild.
After this episode, just because I have no idea why people are not targeting her, and if just put up at the end, I think that so many people would be more willing to vote for her at the end than needing to worry about any sort of like tribal lines or anything like that. I think that even if she's up against both like D and Austin, I think that she has not only the alliances built up to be able to support something like that, but she's been able to have the moves at this point.
And the story.
And the story is a big one. I actually don't think that this is a huge move for Emily, that like she's like, it can be a move that I convinced Bruce to not play his Idol. I don't really care. Like if I was on the island and like sitting on the jury and heard her say it, I'd be like, okay, who cares? Like it's Bruce. It doesn't really matter to me. But she has plenty of other ones that she can mention too.
Bruce is going to admit to Jake that he lied about the whole Idol thing. Jake is pissed because he's just been, guy's been through the ringer for like the past 4 episodes. So Jake has a breakdown on the beach, and poor Jake. Jake's my favorite on this season, so it sucks to see him having such a hard time. But we get a nice moment. Both Bruce and Katura both comfort him. It's a nice moment before we go to tribal council.
I really felt this.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like this is probably like, if I was on Survivor, I feel like this is probably the most likely result. Is that I would go in, maybe I'd play a good game, for let's say like the first half, make it to the merge. But I think that there'd just be so much going on, and I would believe everything that is said to me. I would maybe be able to identify some lies just because I can be decent at telling like when someone is just being really fake. But the way that some of these people are talking to Jake, I'm like, that seems really genuine. And they're like, even like through the edit, I'm being tricked watching it. And then they come back around and I'm like, oh, they didn't actually mean any of that. Okay. Yeah, I could be screwed in Survivor if it ever comes to this.
Yeah, maybe Jake thought he was really good at spotting liars. Sounds like a lawyer thing.
Yeah, right.
And he's finding out he's not. I gotta say, what are we down to? The final 7 now? And all 3 lawyers are still in the game.
Terrifying, to say the least.
Dream is still alive.
Dream is alive.
Final 3. Tribal Council. Bruce does not play his idol. Emily must have comforted him and soothed him enough to make him feel safe. It is 4 votes for Bruce, 3 votes for Jake, 1 vote for Julie. Wow. This was such a wrong move.
Such a wrong move.
Take out like D. Apparently Julie's a huge threat, which we weren't told until this episode. So I was thinking D. Players probably know better than me. So yeah, Julie would have been fine. But yeah, I said D would have been the right move. Get the Rebus to split. Everyone else come up the middle and take out D.
Yeah, I think that Julie is a great option just because it's less expected than someone like D. If you're going to use someone like Julie to that flip, okay, then yeah, take out D if she feels like she needs to make that move right now. But I think, out of those 4, it felt, at least at this time, like Julie was, number 4 on that list. So she'd be a great person. If you're just trying to flip the numbers, she's a perfect person to go for. Whether or not she's 4, I have no idea.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it anymore. But Bruce cannot win this game. Why take him out? Pull his Xander, just kind of keep him off the side. If you don't really consider his idol a factor, it's not really a factor. You just keep him there and basically hold him hostage as a goat to take to the end. There's no reason to take out Bruce.
I think Bruce was just Reba's way of Katura's the cat because Katura. Bruce is the laser pointer.
Yeah.
And they've just been stringing her along, and now they get to act really excited because they've now used a Bello member to take out most of Bello, and now Bello is basically gone. Bello as a tribe is gone. Now it's Katura and Jake. That's really all there is to it.
Boy, Reba just annihilated Bello.
Derek, this was a while back when you actually first got your cats that you said something when it came to laser pointers that I don't think I'd ever heard up to that point, but it makes a lot of sense. It's that every once in a while you have to let them catch the laser.
Yes.
Because they have to have that satisfaction or that instinct of actually getting the kill.
I'm so happy you remember me saying that, and I love it because now Katura, she has that satisfaction. She caught the laser pointer. By the way, the key is you have to turn it off, so it's like they stamped it out. Right? That's the only way you can do it. Otherwise, laser pointers are just the most frustrating thing because people who do let their cats touch the laser, but then they can't catch it, then they just go insane. Because
that's why I like the little mouse on the rope and string better because they can catch it.
Yes, and I agree. They get to fulfill that hunting instinct. So if you do use a laser pointer, just be warned. Let them catch it. Turn it off when they get it because then it's oh cool. I stamped it out. It's gone.
But we all think it's the wrong move. What did Twitter think?
Twitter is twittering right now.
Twitter gonna Twitter.
They did say no here, but it was only 53%.
That's not high enough.
No, it's not nearly high enough. That's way too close to being with saying yes. That's the right person.
That's class Twitter right there. All right, Josh. We had a question at the top of the hour from Blake. Let's get back into that.
Yeah, we're finally paying off the tees. Perfect timing. So thank you once again, Blake, for asking this. So Blake asked, why do players continue to vote out people that have no chance of winning? Is it just it's hard to gauge when they're on the island, or they physically can't live with annoying people for that long?
That's a great question. The first half, I suspect it could be hard to gauge sometimes, but with all the negative content we've seen from Bruce, I just don't buy that. Was he that hard to live with? Maybe for Katura. Maybe this is just the laser pointer. Mm-hmm. Katura hates Bruce. Katura wants Bruce gone. Reba's like, okay, sure.
We don't mind.
We don't mind. Maybe it's that.
Especially because Katura was always content for the Ricochet to be another Bello. Just someone else to weaken the ranks.
That's the best thing that I can think of is that, for Reba, and I'll toss Emily in there just because I feel like Emily's in a spot where she can say yeah, I can beat other people at the end if I make it there. So let's say for that group of 5, whether or not this is valid for all of them, but they're all seeing it yeah, we're comfortable here. Let's just keep taking out Bello. That's fine. You hop over to someone like Katura. She wants the kill. She just wants to take out Bruce. It's not the right move for her, obviously, but she can't see that right now.
Yep.
And then for Jake, it's either Bruce or Jake in his eyes. So he's okay taking out Bruce because of that. If we take 5 steps back, they should all be teaming up together to take out someone like a D or Julie or whoever they choose. But we're past that point, it seems like.
Yeah, I wonder if they just got tunnel vision.
Well, and I want to make another analogy because analogies are my favorite. Anyone who's seen the movie The Longest Yard, specifically the Adam Sandler one, when they're playing the big game, cons versus guards at the end, there are moments in the game where the cons get focused on the guards that were treating them poorly. And so they sacrifice their ability to win the game to get their revenge, to get the kill, to get the hit. But you're sacrificing the game when you do that. That's what Katura's been doing, and the guards, Reba, have been more than happy to allow those hits, those sacrifices to take place in the meantime. My summary to answer Blake's question is that good players use bad players to make good moves. And sometimes that involves taking out someone who can't win the game, who also has an idol that could have really flipped the power dynamic at any time. Say what you want about Bruce's inability to win the game. That idol could have done some serious damage as a bottom-feeding chaos agent. So good players use bad players to make good moves. That is what happened.
And leading up to this episode, just from the last few podcasts that we've had, we've been talking about Bello and who people on Reba might be able to beat. And we've been talking about, okay, you take out, a couple more people. All you have to do is get down to having Katura and Bruce left, and you should be able to bring those two people to the end, and anyone can beat them. It might just be two Bello. It might not be Bruce and Katura. Everyone else remaining, the other 5, might be viewing it as, we just need two Bello to go to the end with us, and we can beat them. And whether that's Bruce and Katura and Jake.
I think that's foolish. I think if that's the case, they're underestimating Jake. I think Jake can win. The underdog status, big underdog status. I mean, people seem to like him. He's just on the outs.
I'm going to say the exact same thing that I said in 43, and I was the only one on this podcast that said it, but it's the same thing as Owen.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were having him as the person who could win the game, and I kept saying he is one of my people who cannot win the game.
Yeah, but you also said Gabler can't win.
Well, true.
We all said you're not allowed to bring up Gabler unless you want to validate your own opinion.
We can always bring up Gabler.
We can always bring up.
He validates everything.
Yeah.
It humbles us.
Let's get into best and worst player of the episode.
Yes. Yep.
Josh, start us off. Who's the best player of the episode?
Since Bruce went home, I actually had a tough time with best player. I ended up giving it to Emily, even though I didn't really care about this move. She can use it as saying that, she convinced Bruce to not play it. I guess it's her.
I want to keep it with Reba just because that is for 75% of the Reba, this is a totally fine move. This helps them. So I wanted to focus on 75% of Reba. I don't want to name the 4th person yet. But the one of the Reba who had the best episode is Austin. He won immunity. Going through the Bruce Jake split plan is good for him. So Austin's my best.
I agree with Ryan. I had Austin as well.
Worst player, I had Katura. Ratting out Bruce's plan was stupid. She's got the tunnel vision. There's no reason for her to take out Bruce. Katura's my worst.
I had Drew because he fought with Jake on the beach. And also based on the jury makeup, I think he has a tough road to victory in his existing alliance and the people who are left.
I also had Katura there. That's a good point with Drew, but Katura took out the one person that she could beat, and at this point, maybe she still was able to make a couple of good moves and beat one other person by the time she got to the end. But now that Bruce isn't here anymore, she's got to be able to beat 2 people, and I think that's too much of a stretch.
Derek, I want to say Drew's definitely a dishonorable mention. Drew had a bad episode.
Yeah, and for the record, I also have Katura as a dishonorable mention.
I have Drew as a dishonorable mention, for sure. Let's get into who's going next. I had a really tough time with this one, so why don't we have Derek start us off? Who's going next, Derek?
I think that Reba is going to eat itself.
Okay.
So all it is who do you think it's going to be? Austin's got 2 idols, or at worst he has 1 idol. Julie has 1 idol. That leaves Drew or D. No one's going to target Drew in that situation, I don't think. So I landed on D, but it's more of an intuition and less based on a coherent string of facts or foreshadowing.
I'm also picking D. For me, it feels like it's going to be someone on Reba, not going to be Austin. The tiebreaker between D, Drew, and Julie, it just seems like Drew should be safe because it seems like Emily is still kind of siding with Drew and Austin here. And then I'm not sure if Julie still has that idol.
Yeah, as far as we know, she does. We don't know anything about it going back.
Yeah, so giant question mark there, and I'm using that as my tiebreaker, and I'm going with D instead of Julie.
I agree with both of you completely. I think it's D.
All right.
last thing that we have now, because the Survivor Pool is done. So last thing we got to do is who cannot win this game. We've all had Bruce in there, so something's got to change. Josh, start us off. Who can't win this game?
Well, Katura's staying there. She's definitely staying there. And, I was bouncing around a little bit for this one, but I'm actually feeling pretty good on this now. I'm going to go with Jake as the second person. And it goes back to actually something I just said a couple of minutes ago. I think that Jake is going to be Owen 2.0. And, he's someone who is likable, who knows the game, but is just having such a hard time maneuvering his way through it. The bullets are going for other people. They're going around him, but it's not really any of his own doing. So it just seems like he's been out of the loop on so much stuff. And I think that once it comes down to it, if he is paired along with anyone really, like, yeah, he can beat Katura, but anyone else out there, I think that they would at least be able to prove that they played a little bit more of a game than what he has. So that's why I landed on him as my second person.
So Katura, obviously, I'm not gonna land on Jake because looking at that jury, he had a bromance with Caleb, and the other three are all Bello, who got along with Jake just fine. So I think that could potentially be 4 votes for Jake right there. You only need however many to win. That's 4 potentially. So I think Jake can absolutely win. My new person on the bottom is Drew. I think he's the 4th of the Reba 4. Because I think he's got the worst social game of the 4. And it's not like a terrible game by any means, but he has been snippy with people. I think maybe the malnutrition has gotten him a little bit, so he seems like he's the grumpiest. That fight with Jake was bad. So Drew, I don't think can win this game.
Based on the rules of who can't win, which continue to irritate me, I'm going to side with Josh.
Ooh.
I have Katura still on my list. Bruce slides off. I'm landing on Jake, not because of the Owen comparison, but it is a good one. I'm glad you thought of it. If Jake sits at the end, as much as we hate Survivor resume, Jake will be nothing but a character in anyone else's story. Jake is another character in Katura's story, even if I have Katura below him. Jake has had almost no agency, and he has had the football Charlie Browned on him. Now, I'm sticking a fork in Drew. I don't think there's any way for him to get to the end with Katura and Jake to win. I just don't see the shakedown happening such that those 3 can end up at the end.
Wow.
So I am basically saying 3 people cannot win. It is Drew, it is Katura, and it is Jake.
I know you just said you're irritated by these who can't win rules, but I really liked that.
Yeah.
I really liked everything you just did there.
So if by some miracle Drew does find a way to make it to the end with Jake and Katura, you think that he could win?
At that point, because I don't think that's going to happen, I don't even factor that into this section really.
That's fine.
If it does, Ryan's exact point about the bromance with Caleb and literally half the jury, this is half the jury. 3 Bello and the only guy who didn't vote for Caleb. Cool. That's pretty much, depending on what happens from here on out, Jake could get enough to win if Drew has to backstab his own alliance to get to the end with Jake and Katura.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating, but the only thing holding it up is the fact that Jake really has had no agency in this game. It would purely be a spite vote on behalf of the jury.
Or just we love Jake. They all, could be just like the social game.
We want to vote for the person we like the most, maybe not the person who played the best game.
Yeah,
strategically.
Which happens.
Very Natalie White, who played the game the wrong way the best, or whatever, however it was articulated on season
Eric.
19.
Yeah, things can always flip. All right, should we get into some social media?
Yeah, like we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Castaway Pod. YouTube, Facebook, TikTok is Castaway Consultants. We have a website that's thecastawayconsultants.com. Feel free to share us your Spotify Wrapped. I saw something today about there being an Apple version now too. So, they're copycats, but what else is new with Apple? So you can send those to us. I think it's like Apple Rewind or something. I don't know.
Oh, they're copying us.
Yeah, right.
First I've heard about this.
So feel free to send either of those our way, and we'll give you a little shout out. We got one on Twitter as we were starting the podcast from Claire, basically saying that we were their #1 podcast. So thank you very much, Claire.
And Speaking of Spotify Wrapped, just Spotify in general, go out and give us your threat breakdowns or your rank downs to win the game, and we will include you in the listenership average, which will get posted on Monday or Tuesday of every week, depending on when we feel like we want to do it.
It's feeling like a Tuesday now. I know I said 2 weeks ago that we're going to do it on Mondays. It's Tuesday now.
It's feeling like a Tuesday. People come back from work, they listen to the podcast, they submit it on Monday. We want to get them all. So just keep sending them in. I love doing it, and it's really fun to look at.
The listener average for the power rankings compared to last week, nothing changed.
Okay.
So it was actually kind of interesting between the three of us. We had a couple of switches here and there. You had two, actually, Ryan, that ended up swapping.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, sounds like Ryan. Yes. But our listeners actually had the exact same rankings week to week. So, without me actually laying out all of my jank downs, because it'll be posted online, and I actually am going to have quite a few shakeups here, I think, this week. It sounds like you guys might as well.
Yeah, go to social media because my order has swapped a lot. You guys have Emily at number 1.
My order actually didn't swap at all.
Interesting. Okay. That's going to be a big one for me. I shared it earlier that Emily's now my number 1 threat. So I'm really interested to see how our listeners respond as well.
All right, this has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.